Hello! Hello. So you may have noticed I've undergone quite a serious transformation. Now I'm cute, fluffy, and I have floppy ears. Look at them flop. Flopping. Anyway, in the future I'll arrive with interesting biology facts. But now I'm just going to leave you with this. If quizzes are quizzical, what are tests?
So, now we're on to non-specific immunity.
Yep. So, bacteria's got into your body.
Yep.
And you've got a straight away some sort of response from your body.
Immediate response there. And there's a few stages of how this happens, isn't there?
Yep. And the very first stage, right back at the beginning, is the inflammatory response.
Yeah. So, you may notice when you get some sort of cut or something, you'll notice swelling. And it's not very nice, but it's actually the body defending. This is the inflammatory response happening. But it needs a few stages to sort of occur.
Yeah. So, histamine is going to be released.
Yeah, you may have heard of histamine, maybe more in the form of antihistamine, because often it's not needed. It sort of happens when it's not mentioned when people are allergic, but it is actually very useful. So you need to know where it's released.
Yep. It's released from two major cells.
Yeah, the mast cells and white blood cells in general.
So mast cells is probably something new to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be lazy. WBC for white blood cells.
Yeah, I think that's easier.
You know white blood cells.
Yeah, but what does it actually do then?
Well, when you've got a cut and you've got bacteria invading the area, you want to stop it. You want to stop it as quickly as you can. So you're going to form a clot, but bacteria will already have got in before then.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to get lots of things that can fight off the bacteria there. Now, near the surface of the skin you've got capillaries, which is where things diffuse. Remember, your oxygen diffuses through the capillaries.
But not much else can fit.
So what histamine does is it dilates these capillaries. That's the important bit of histamine. It dilates the capillaries. Now that means there's an increased blood flow, there's more blood going through per unit time, but also the gaps in between the capillaries, the gaps where the oxygen would diffuse, can now fit things like white blood cells.
In the form of plasma.
Yes.
Plasma all goes through, and plasma contains loads of white blood cells.
And these can fight off the bacteria. So the fact of histamine being bad when you've got hay fever, is when you've got hay fever you're particularly against certain types of pollen.
Yeah.
And the body detects them, and it will release histamine to try to fight it as if it's any other bacteria.
And you'll get swelling or sneeze a lot all the time. You don't need to. So antihistamine sort of calm your body down. And to take a pill, take a short pill.
So you've probably heard of antihistamines, that's why they're useful. So histamines dilate the capillaries.
So your white blood cells can get there, but what happens when they arrive?
Well, that's the second stage, and we mentioned this in the first video, but it was one of those main stages.
Yes, phagocytosis.
Phagocytosis.
Absolutely. So phagocytosis is also to do about how the white blood cells actually destroy the bacteria. So there's two main types of cells that undergo phagocytosis. There's neutrophils and macrophages. Macrophages are much bigger, but neutrophils, they arrive first. They're always the first thing to the scene. There's much more of them. If you remember that there's 70% from our last video, we talked about these briefly. 70% of your white blood cells are neutrophils. Macrophages are a type of monocytes, and there's 4% white blood cells of those.
There's much less.
They arrive second, but they are much bigger.
Yes, so hopefully you've remembered this. We can rub this off and do a couple of drawings now.
Yes, we will require to draw stuff. So, white blood cell arrives, I'll draw, say a neutrophil.
Yep.
They look like what the way drawn in the corner a bit.
Yep, so I'll draw a bit bigger here. So that arrives first.
Yeah, and it sees a bacteria.
I'm going to let X be the bacteria, because rather than drawing a mini bacteria.
Yeah.
So that's the bacteria, it notices it, it's going to attack it, wants to get rid of it.
So what it does is it engulfs it. This is a word you have to use, you can't use eat, but it just sort of absorbs it through endocytosis into its own membrane-bound sac.
Yep, so it's in its own little vacuole there.
Yeah, and that's going to protect the cell from what's about to happen. So that's sort of like endocytosis.
Yes. So then, enzymes called lysozymes are about in these neutrophils.
Yeah.
And they're going to attach around this little vacuole.
Yeah, and they'll go into it, and they're enzymes, so they'll break down the bacteria.
Yep. So that'll be all dead and stuff.
Yeah, all dead and stuff. So it would just be sort of messed up particles in the middle of the cell.
It can't do any damage.
It doesn't know what to do with that, so it just gets rid of it. So exocytosis, it just throws it out.
It's going to be awkward to draw. Imagine it sort of like that. And
But like a kidney bean, and the dots all go out, and that's sort of like exocytosis.
Yep. And so a neutrophil can take sort of 10 to 20 perhaps of these bacteria.
They are quite short-lived, then it will sort of be removed.
Yeah. because it's going to run out of lysozymes eventually to digest. That's another word you need to use. Digest the bacteria.
Yeah.
But then these macrophages come along, and they're pretty similar.
Yeah. But they are substantially bigger. They'll still do phagocytosis, but they can do much more of it.
Yeah, they can do sort of 100, 200 maybe.
And they can actually do a load of bacteria at once, which will happen later more in specific.
Yeah, but it's the same stages. It looks the same in terms of drawing. This all happens. They've still got these lysozymes, and they all exit just in the same way.
Yeah.
They just can do it a lot more, so it sort of cleans it up as well.
Yeah. And as you've hopefully cut off entry for more bacteria, there won't be any more bacteria, so once they've removed all the bacteria there, your clearance for them will go down.
Yeah. Neutrophils, when they're sort of decaying right at the end, they can sometimes release radicals.
So, you know about radicals, NAS, and generally they're bad. When you've got loads of bacteria going around, they can actually kill those too.
Yeah, because the way that radicals are bad for your cells in your body is the same for the way they're bad for bacteria. So when they release them to the bacteria. Yeah. So as long as you can control these radicals, it's actually a good thing to have some of them about in these neutrophils.
However, when you get rid of your bacteria, you still have free radicals around, so you want to get rid of those, and you get those from antioxidants.
Which you can get from orange juice.
Yeah, written in E and C.
Yep. So plenty of antioxidants in your body. If you're French,
moderate drinking red wine. Yeah, that's fine. Moderate drinking, no, yeah. Don't get too carried away.
Smoking increases radicals. Don't smoke.
That's also bad.
Naughty.
Yeah, don't do that. That's pretty bad.
So that's the neutrophils and macrophages.
It's the second stage of your immune response, but there's actually more, isn't there, Wayne?
Yes.
So it all takes place in your blood.
Yeah.
But your blood doesn't stay still, does it, Wayne?
Not even close. It moves around quite a lot. So if there's bacteria in the blood, it might just by chance be clinging on to sort of the edges of your capillaries and stuff, or it'll be fought in this way. But chances are some of it is going to get into your blood and be whizzing around your body. You don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that. And sometimes you've got too much liquid in your blood.
Yeah. So this fluid can be removed by something you might have heard of called the lymphatic system.
Yep, and it may also remove bacteria with it.
Yes, and you'll have bacteria in your lymphatic system sort of whizzing around with the rest of the fluid.
I mean, that's not
good.
And
in your blood, whizzing around with your blood.
So that can cause something called blood poisoning, which is really bad. So to avoid this, your lymphatic system is well prepared.
Yeah.
So the first stage, sort of in the problem, is it's absorbed from the tissue fluid into the lymphatic system.
Yeah. Now the lymphatic system goes around most of your body. There's lots of it everywhere to remove your waste fluids.
So yeah, it goes everywhere. There's a few major parts. Thoracic duct goes up to your neck, where a lot of it's removed or put back in. Sorry.
Yeah. And so, as the bacteria is in there, it can have access to all of your body.
Yeah.
Except, we've got little things in the way.
Yeah, so we have lymph nodes.
Yeah.
Now these are around your lymphatic system, they're really high concentrated parts of white blood cells.
Yeah. So, when the bacteria gets across these lymph vessels to the lymph node, it's like there's macrophages stood there arming the gate.
Yep, they are ready.
Sorry mate, you're not on the list.
No, go. That's what they'll do.
That's what they'll do. So the lymphatic system is ready to kill bacteria that gets into it.
Yeah.
So.
And the lymphatic system is actually connected to something called your spleen, which is where these all come from anyway.
Yep, that's where all these things are made. So you might have heard people rip or break their spleen.
Yeah. And you can actually survive after doing that.
Yeah, but because you're not going to have any of these macrophages lining these gates, if you do get a cut and you get bacteria that comes into your lymphatic system, it can go anywhere.
Yeah, and that's a real problem.
That won't be armed with these macrophages.
So people have to take pills to avoid this.
Yeah, so if you rip your spleen, that is bad, but you can survive.
That is really bad. And this is all how you defend against bacteria, but they're not the only thing to invade, are they, Wayne?
They're not. I've once I had a virus.
Oh no, Wayne.
But thankfully my body was ready with something called an interferon.
Oh, excellent. So a few videos ago we did about viruses and how they invade.
Yeah.
So they basically use your own DNA system and protein synthesis to make more of themselves. So this kills the cell they use, but the cell has one last secret weapon.
It does indeed. So if this is the cell that's died. There's lots and lots and lots of viral DNA. Remembering they're literally phospholipid around a DNA.
Yeah, they're not even alive. They're sort of a bit terrifying.
So they've released loads of these that all reproduce.
But the cell sort of knows it's being taken over, knows something's going wrong, so it produces something called interferons.
Yes, which represent with
little blue triangles.
Little blue triangles. So how I like to think of this is just me. You can think of it how you want. I like to think of it as the cell's dying, right?
Yeah.
And all these viruses are in there, and I like to think of it as he takes a picture of these viruses,
Alright.
and he gives it to his henchmen, which is these little interferons, and he said, "Hey, warn the other cells. Tell them don't let this guy in," and shows them a photo.
It's like a wanted poster almost.
Yeah.
So, when this
they'll
gets the other cells, and the other cells have received interferons, it's sort of like our lymphatic thing again, we've got guards at the gates. The viruses can't enter and take over.
Yep.
So this prevents the sort of spread of viruses. It doesn't kill them.
No, it just sends them away, so then they're a sad virus.
They're a very, very sad virus, but that's good because we didn't really like them.
Yep, they're a bit evil.
They're
So then they go off somewhere else.
Yeah.
And these interferons are quite important. They were at a point used in medicine. It was an idea.
Yeah. They're very expensive to produce, and actually there's quite unpleasant side effects, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know what they are.
I don't know what they are, but apparently they're not good. So.
Yeah, so you can't really just make interferons and put it in medicine, as good as that would be for fighting viruses.
Yeah. They do occasionally, they sometimes use it for types of leukemia and supporting AIDS, but it's not, it's not widely used.
Hugely used, no. Just in case you're interested, you don't need to know that.
No.
But this is the non-specific.
Yep, this is quite lengthy, it does seem quite mean, but specific is actually far worse. We'll get onto that now, I think.
We'll see you there.
Yeah.